Howdy, y'all, and happy October. We are starting off the month by talking about one of my favorite horror franchises. Now, I'll talk a little bit about what is actually my favorite horror film franchise at some point, but we're going to start off with Halloween due to the fact that I've watched several of the films from the overall franchise at least once throughout the month of October every year. Usually it's the very first film, Halloween, from 1978. And before me, I have the long out-of-print Halloween, the Complete Collection 15-disc Deluxe Edition Blu-ray set. Halloween from 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. The last two being pretty controversial, but we'll get to that. Don't want to do a deep dive into many of my videos. I just want to give some brief overviews why I'm into this particular property element of horror and why I keep coming back to it. So this 15-disc set is what we'll start off with. And this was released in the mid-2010s. It's a highly sought-after item at this point. I'm not going to promote FOMO, also known as fear of missing out, which is its own type of horror, those of you who are collectors out there. But I got this during my second tour of duty working at Best Buy, and I am so grateful to this day to be able to have it because there are some exclusive elements to this. Yes, Shout's Scream Factory imprint is releasing 4K editions of these films, but until they release another complete box set, I'm perfectly happy with my Blu-rays, honestly, because this includes all of the films that were produced and released prior to the 2018 revival, requel, trilogy, whatever you want to call it, and that includes the original John Carpenter's Halloween, Halloween 2, the anthology style Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, in my opinion, very underrated. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Halloween H2O, released in 1998, just in time for the 20th anniversary of the franchise. Halloween Resurrection, considered a controversial end to the original franchise. Halloween, the 2000, I believe this was 2007, correct me in the comments, but the late aughts reboot by Rob Zombie himself of Halloween. The sequel, Halloween 2, also by Rob Zombie. And this box set includes a wonderful little booklet put together by Scream Factory. Talks about each of the individual films, includes some artwork, talks about who's to be credited for the Blu-rays, the remastering, talks about each one of the films, so that's pretty cool. Without all those, it's pretty hollow. This isn't in the best condition. It's been through 2 moves at this point, and it wasn't in mint condition or near mint condition when I purchased it either, but I wanted it. I didn't care. I was going to have it. Halloween, starting back in 1978, is to this day a truly terrifying film because it's set in a small town known as Haddonfield. It deals with a killer on the loose after decades of being in an insane asylum / mental institution for the murder of a close family member. That killer is dead set to strike when you least expect it and begins to pursue Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. She, as a babysitter, home with her charges, she's stuck to defend herself and these kids from what becomes known as the Shape, Michael Myers. Nick Castle, the original Michael Myers, does an absolutely amazing job just presenting this stalker persona with just an added dose of menace. And the late Donald Pleasance is also great as Dr. Loomis in this film. The soundtrack provided by John Carpenter is top-notch. I have no complaints. This is a near-perfect horror film. And this home media edition included multiple cuts of this film. It included the original cut and the television cut as well. So I'm pretty thrilled that we were able to get multiple versions of multiple films in here. It's fantastic. Some elements of Halloween are unrated thanks to that additional cut as well. Then we have Halloween 2. Multiple audio commentaries on this, on the original. 2 discs here. Halloween 2, the theatrical cut, Halloween 2, the television version as well. Marked, as you can see, in a much more logical fashion than the original Halloween. And I've had to insert the discs one by one for Halloween just to figure out which version it is I'm watching, because I'm not going to put a sticky label on my disc. Next up, as John Carpenter originally wanted this franchise to be an anthology and was pressured to include Michael Myers in Halloween 2 due to the success of the first film, we have the first true anthology entry, and really the last, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, whereas Halloween 2 follows Laurie and Michael's story into another setting filled with murder and carnage. Season of the Witch encounters the protagonist trying to stop a conglomerate from potentially bringing about the end of the world. As an entry in Halloween, it doesn't work. As a standalone film, I'm a fan. And I have to thank my buddy Brian from my first tour of duty with Best Buy for introducing me to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Next up, we have Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And it's just a single disc. It's a single cut. Again, multiple audio commentaries on there. We have Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Again, multiple audio commentaries. Just going to open each of these, show off the disc. Maybe show off the back. Great profile of Donald Pleasance there. This is a very controversial entry. This is Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Was very low budget compared to the other films. I mean, even more so than some of the other films. And this is, for now, the first and only way that you can get your hands on not only do you get the theatrical cut, you get the unrated and extended producer's cut, which I feel offers better elements. And it's double the Paul Rudd. Yes, Paul Rudd makes a horror film debut in Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, which unfortunately was Donald Pleasance's last entry in the franchise before he passed away. Not a great way to end his tenure. We have the return of Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween 2.0, an underrated entry. Michael returns after a long absence, as does Laurie. It kind of acts as the first retcon for the Halloween franchise, as Laurie is gone for a particular reason stated in Halloween 4, the return of Michael Myers. That's undone here, and there's no mention of the elements of 4, 5, or 6. So our first real retcon there. Another retcon in this, minor one, but it leads to the downfall of a long-running character. Not a fan of it. We return to Haddonfield. There's a reality TV show being produced in side of Michael's childhood home, and it's a little dated. You've got Exhibit in there, but that's not why it's dated. It's got flip phone texting included in there. It's not the worst film, but as an entry in the Halloween franchise, yeah, you can take it or leave it. The franchise was in dire need, so after a little while, Rob Zombie was brought on and wrote and directed this film. We call it the Halloween reboot, or Halloween by Rob Zombie, and it completely reboots the franchise, gives Michael some sympathetic elements, and yeah, I really don't know what to say about this other than we see the return of Daniel Harris, who was a big part of the franchise in the 4th and 5th films in the original timeline, if we want to call it that. What's an original timeline? We have differing opinions depending on who the fan is. Not the worst film. Also has Danny Trejo in it for a brief moment, and Chucky's actor. It's not the worst film. There's some good actors, but overall, not my favorite. And this is on the low end of the scale. This is the sequel to Rob Zombie's Halloween. This is Halloween 2. It was going to lead into a Halloween 3. That got canceled due to critical and audience reception of this film. So that's everything that's in this beautiful box set here. Love me the Halloween franchise because you've just got an unstoppable force that just keeps coming for you. Just like life and trauma, and you have to fight and push through to survive. The Halloween franchise was dead for a little while after Halloween 2, but in 2018 we saw the release of Halloween 2018 with John Carpenter being involved, but not as the director. You can thank some interesting people for the return of this. David Gordon Green was the primary director. Jason Blum produced this through Blumhouse. He produced all 3 of these films. And Danny McBride from several HBO series, including The Righteous Gemstones, helped produce this and write as well. This is the return yet again of Jamie Lee Curtis. She's in all 3 of the requel trilogy films, and Michael is back. I won't say he's better than ever, but this first film at the very least makes an interesting statement on the importance of mental health, on the importance of healing, and I'm a big fan of this first entry in the requel trilogy. It's got some great actors, some great horror elements. It's a lot of fun. I recommend checking, at bare minimum, out Halloween 1978 and Halloween 2018, and you'll get a complete package, because this film retcons as well, creates a brand new timeline. It takes place immediately following, in the timeline, Halloween 1978, granted being 40 years apart, but ignores all of the other films in the franchise. Next, we have Halloween Kills, which was meant to come out in 2020, was actually released in 2021 due to the pandemic. This is a more, we'll say, comedic entry in the franchise. There's a lot more, there's a lot of characters that go to the extreme with their acting in here. Features in a flashback the return of Dr. Loomis, played by someone else, so that might be controversial. This is not the most beloved entry in the franchise, but I think it's a lot of fun. It features returns of older actors, other characters, alongside Jamie Lee Curtis. I'm a fan of this one. This home media release has two different versions, the theatrical and the extended release. And it's well worth at least watching if you're looking for a horror film with some dark comedic elements. Finally, we have Halloween Ends, which for now is the end of the Halloween franchise. And this was the final film under Jason Blum's license of the franchise. It was released in 2022, simultaneously in theaters and on the Peacock streaming service. Not sure how great a choice that was, but that's okay. And it truly does, for at least this point in time, bring about the end of Michael Myers. Michael is a little worse for wear after the first two entries in the requel trilogy. Jamie Lee Curtis and her remaining family, they're trying to move on. There's a question of what brings about the birth of a psychopath, and how do you truly bring an end to evil. It's not the worst film, but it doesn't really work as a Halloween film, especially given the amount of marketing surrounding this being the final battle between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. But that's okay. If you want to finish out the requel trilogy, I know I keep calling it that, but that's what a lot of people call it, or the Bloomverse trilogy, then you need to watch this film. But honestly, if you want, and I can make a separate video if you all want, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave comments in the comments below. Honestly, if you want a complete story, all you need is Halloween 1978 and Halloween 2018. That's it. If you want to get a little crazy and you want to enjoy the original and someone else's take, watch Halloween 1978 and watch the first Rob Zombie film. Compare. Go for it. I am not about to tell anyone how to enjoy their horror films or enjoy anything in life. That is not my bag, baby. But really, without making this video a substantial amount of time long, that's my overview of what I have before me for the Halloween film franchise. I'm actually really excited because in fall 2026, they're going to release a Halloween video game akin to the Friday the 13th video game with online play, where you can play as a civilian trying to escape and defeat Michael Myers, or as Michael Myers trying to take down as many babysitters and what have you as humanly possible. I hope it's fun. Please be fun. If you want further elaboration on the franchise, if you want elaboration on any of the films, if you want to know further thoughts from me about Halloween, please feel free to comment, message me on social media. I'm at #1Animaniac on Instagram. You can find me as your affirmation administrator in the Omnibuds Cafe on Facebook. At the end of the day, to me, the Halloween film franchise is top-notch, even with the weaker elements. I have to give it an A because it's a franchise that I come back to every single October. And to me, horror isn't just a month, it's a feeling. I could watch the first Halloween on repeat any time of the year and not get bored with it. Usually Halloween 1978 is what I put on while kids are coming around trick-or-treating anyway, between the groups that show up to get their trick and get their treat. But Michael Myers, yeah, he's unlike any of the other slashers out there, because the man's been through some hell himself with the different entries in his franchise. But I think we as fans have gone through hell alongside of him. So at the end of the day, stay healthy, stay safe, happy October, and thank you so much for watching.